This is Chip Maxwell, and you're listening to the Retire Smart podcast with David Brooks. Today, David is joined by Josh Cheatle, Retire Smart's Director of Wealth Management, to talk about what it takes to grow a firm the right way, from building culture and leadership to developing a deep bench of skilled advisors. We'll share how a nationwide search led us to a surprising local connection, and how Josh is helping shape the future of our team and client experience.
Joining me in the studio is Josh Cheatle, who is now our Director of Wealth Management. Josh, thanks for taking time to stop in.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for the introduction, Chip.
So I think it's really important. We have been growing and scaling the firm, and one of the paramounts that I have preached to all the advisors on our team, which just keeps growing, is education, constant training. Iron sharpens iron, and so we did a nationwide search and landed on you. So,
I don't know why.
Well, just telling our audience that we actually did a nationwide search. I was skeptical actually to hire a leader in the company that from the outside. That can be dangerous when you're growing companies, culture, things like that. But we ended up hiring headhunters doing this nationwide search, and lo and behold, you live right here in Elkhorn.
10 minutes away. Yep.
Of all the candidates we search. And what's even funnier is your mom and dad, and I didn't even know this during the interview process, which was a couple months long. Your mom and dad have been my clients personally for like 5 years or better,
Yep.
And so I think God has something to do with that. It's amazing how things all seem to work out. But anyway, we've been thrilled to have you on board for, I guess 6 months already now, right?
It'll be 6 months in a week and a half.
So, but anyway, I just want to introduce you to the audience. We'll have you on here regularly, but you have taken up a key role, which is helping continue to drive the education, as my role I've had to, I have new responsibilities, had to learn how to become a CEO. That's not the easiest thing to do, but anyway, so now we're constantly, and you've been inspirational in helping me scale up. I think we have 6 interns starting here right after Memorial Day weekend.
We're going to be full of interns.
We're going to have a full house of interns this summer. That program has been expanding. So just so excited for the growth. And I love being able to educate these kids at school and go back. I think we have one coming from Iowa State this year. We had Kentucky last year. We got several from the University of Nebraska. I think we might have a UNO.
We do, yeah.
I think we have a Creighton. Anyway, so it's really fun to help get some of these the youth. As I always tell them in the process, and you sit in the interviews often, it's like, well, what you learn in school and what you do in real life, very, very different things. But anyway, it's awesome to bring these interns. So I'm just grateful to have you on board. So let's just talk about our processes and how we continue them. You worked for one of the largest national firms out there. In fact, you were responsible for basically I think you had about half the United States, right? Yep. And so you were responsible from older advisors to younger advisors. Talk about that experience and what's different here.
Well, everything's different. To go to my past, right? Starting with, and Chip uses that phrase player coach quite a bit, but having been an advisor for many years in the past, and then moving into a managerial role where I was responsible, as you said, to upskill the advisors across a large swath of the country. That experience allowed me, as we look to our advisors, right, and identifying skill sets and building specialties amongst our advisors has been something that's been both obviously very, very rewarding and inspirational for me, right? And so you go back to, working on the business or in the business and being the CIO and the CEO and all the things that you're responsible in doing, bringing me on to allow me to work a little bit more in the business while you work on it has been something that has really allowed our advisors and the team of individuals that support our clients to better support them and looking at ways that we can identify the specialties in the advisors so that if there is a unique need or skill set necessary for a particular client, we have that and we continue to grow that. And it's been incredibly rewarding.
Well, you bring some great points there because you were an advisor, and that was one of the requirements when, in the world when you're trying to fill top tier management roles, there's specific, there's what's called headhunters out there, but there's some specific to each industry, which is what we use. But I was like, look, I need somebody that's actually sat in the advisor's chair for a minimum of 5 years, but I also need that kind of experience on the managerial side and led a large team. And because we have a pretty wide growing team, and you had met both those criteria along with other folks that we went down there. But I love the fact that exactly now you just come to me weekly with, hey, I'm thinking about adding this to the training. Oh yeah, that makes sense here. And then I just give you the resource or where to go, because that's the thing as we scale and grow this and we're able to serve more clients, which is my mission. How do we serve more clients? We're approaching our 1,000th family here in Omaha that we will be serving. That number will cross this year. That's amazing to me, and you worked, and so did I for a long time at the big firms that are, have tens of thousands of advisors across the country. And it's hard for them to, when I talk to friends that are at the big firms, if you will, call them big box firms, whatever, for them to understand the scale when you start, if just a one-man shop, if you will, and then have scaled and grown it into. So anyway, it's fun having you along. Now, I think it's fun too, because as you figured out, I'm willing to spend the money to invest in the team, to continue to grow them, educate them. So we just had one of our coaches in. So we hire coaches to coach the coaches, right? So so you've gotten to know Paul now pretty good. Paul Carpenter is a good friend of ours and coach. He's actually been on, I don't think I've been on the show. I've been on the podcast, but not on the actual radio show yet. But anyway, so Paul's been coaching our leadership team for, I guess, about 4 years now. So tell me about that experience where you're like, okay, this is pretty cool. You actually bring people one-on-one in to coach the coaches, Right,
yeah, to your point, Paul was here just yesterday, the last couple days, so with our team for 2 full days to continue to upskill. And the majority of that team has been through and learned from Paul several times in the past. And what a neat experience to watch them continue to grow and to use your phrase earlier, iron sharpens iron, continue to sharpen their skills. It's been incredibly. So what I'll say is, if where Paul started is where I started. First in the industry, there was a process of learning how to engage with clients and prospects. That's where he started, and I learned that process intimately, and then as he continued to grow in his skill set, built a unique and similar process. And so I was familiar with some of the things he was talking about, but as I continued to learn and identify a way to best serve our clients, it's something that I learned a lot from. It's something that all of our advisors, whether they'd learned from him before or not, had learned from as well. So it is important that not only do you and I continue to grow in our knowledge and our skill set, but of course, pass that knowledge along to our advisors, both tenured and brand new.
Well, and I think that's really important too, is why we do the team approach here. All these advisors, they have a really good base knowledge, intimate knowledge of the tax code. They don't get just about any place else. But we've kind of pushed each one of them into a specialty area so that they're able to not only teach the other advisors unique things, and you've gotten to see that firsthand, but then they also lead classes. We just had a charitable giving class. One of our advisor, Jacob, who actually worked in that world for a long time, leads that class. We have Brad Starkin, who is our certified digital asset advisor, who teaches a crypto class for clients that are just curious. It's not like we're telling you to invest in it, but so we're able to really just bring so much education and value to our community. And we do, I think, I have to check with Chip, but I'm pretty sure it was over 100 classes this year that we've offered through the Midwest Learning Center. And each of these advisors gets their own specialty, and they lead these classes. And we've got you teeing up here to be doing some teaching and speaking here as well, right?
So the specialty, right? You had Colin on last week, and Colin's specialty is one that we utilize every single day, but we wouldn't ask an attorney to be a specialist in all trades, right? We know that phrase, the master or jack of all trades, right?
Well, no, and that's just it. Even Colin will tell you that. Like I always tell people, when you're hiring an attorney, hire an attorney for what they do, right? You don't want a bankruptcy attorney maybe doing injury settlement, et cetera, right?
The second half of that phrase, right? A jack of all trades is actually a master of none, right? And so we want our advisors to be able to serve all of our clients. But when a specialty is necessary, we want that specialty. And to go back to the teamwork approach, it's not a me versus you approach on our advisor side. It's they work together and oftentimes bring another advisor into the conference room.
You joke about that, but I literally had an advisor try to steal a client from me in the lobby when I worked at that national firm. They'll try to take the client from you in the lobby. It was a very cutthroat kind of a business. Anyway, that's what's so fun here is we've built this system and we give younger advisors an opportunity to to get educated, where unfortunately this industry would just chew them up and spit them out, very low success rate, because they just, it's, you have to be able to gather assets to be able to make you got to generate revenue for the firm, et cetera. So anyway, so I think it's just fun. So I'm so excited to have you on board. Look forward to having you on to our audience. So we are running out of time already for this segment. It was fun. So if you got one thing to tell our audience out there, what's something unique they need to know about you?
Yeah, no, I'm a family man. I love dogs. I love to be outside. So those are the unique things about me personally. But professionally, it's a daily growth process that I look forward to engaging with all of our advisors and our team.
Well, they're glad that you're here, and you've obviously been really endeared to the team. So we're just so excited to have you on board. But we are out of time for this segment.
Thanks, David.
Thank you for listening to the Retire Smart podcast with David Brooks. If you want to learn how to generate lifetime income, reduce your tax bill, and maintain your lifestyle in retirement, visit retiresmartpodcast.com. And make sure to subscribe to keep up with new episodes every week.